All right. With much preparation and much confusion, looks like we're at a go. How nice. All right. So, I haven't done the drawing thing in a long time. Hopefully, this phone has enough charge for, what, 2 hours at least? At the most? I'm at 82% battery, so yeah. I cannot find my ruler. And I broke my lead. Where is my ruler? Whatever, we don't need it. Alright. Anyways. Excuse me, that's my dog. I mean, you can't see it, but I'm trying to get my dog out of here. I know he's gonna just destroy it. The quality, the supremely high quality of this stream. Alright. Geez, a minute 30. And just because we're in a stream doesn't mean I wanna bull crap around. Right, so the story. My dog is just staring at me right now. He usually avoids me. Oh, and Jesus. I want to say anything. I don't want to say any bad words. I don't want to get blacklisted from employment. I mean, I don't want to work for any of the big comic book businesses. They can all rot in a sack for all I care. But all right, enough time wasting. We're gonna draw a comic page, or how I do it. Now, based on any comic pages that you've seen from me, you may not believe that I draft them first. Right in a composition book. Here, I'll give you an example. Yeah, and this is a really difficult one, as you can see. Here's an easier one. This is from a futuristic comic I'm planning to make in the future called The Lovely. Okay, I don't have a title, but it's got a techno terrorist, an FBI agent, and a sexy android. Or alien. I don't know what to make her. I need to figure out a way to get light in here. Alright. That is not working. So here we go. So as you can see, he is shooting at a building. This figure. Got a couple shots off. Smoke. There's a dude up there. You can tell he's got a trench coat. You can see some things here now, and then dynamic shot. He's got both his arms out, one leg out too. They let loose a bunch of these spheres. They're supposed to be metal. Then we see in another comic panel, in another panel, a sphere, then grows a little more to a body of a robot. Here's the robot in its full glory that you can barely see, shooting a rocket or a missile or whatever. It's the cheesiest missile ever. Now, then this leads your eye down. You see it's supposed to be a big explosion right here. This dude, I haven't drawn his trench coat, but... Or not really trench coat, I just haven't drawn his jacket. But clearly, when an explosive blasts, you know, it explodes. You got some recoil. This guy's sent outward. Looks like crap now, but... If you notice, it does not explode on the ground. It explodes in midair. I have to be honest. You may not be able to tell because this is very personal. So I'm like the only one that's ever going to see this. But just pretend there's a horizon line right here. So anyways, yeah. It exploded prematurely, and he's safe. Here we go. Here's his glasses. I just put a question mark. I'm not going to put that. I'm just going to work on the face, make him look like he's questioning. And then we see a totally different character. A little more on the designer face, so that I know that's the emotion she'd portray. She's got a gun right there. And she's smiling and waving at him. Oh, okay, spoiled it. That's the... Whatever. She won't be bald. These are very, very rough. Now, one thing about comic pages, almost every panel, I mean, almost every page has to have an establishing shot. So, yeah, don't be a pansy and not want to do backgrounds or any perspective, because perspective is really easy, surprisingly. You can't do perspective? Well, I'd say you wouldn't be able to do comics, but I've heard that a lot of pros skip perspective anyway, so it won't look cool, I guess. Now, I usually work in 4 panels, like 16 panels per page almost, because my comics are as economical as possible. Now, the thing is, with doing several panels a page, then you lose a lot of dynamism if they all just look like graphs. I try to be as energetic, lead your eye as much as possible. Of course, I'm an amateur, so it may not look too impressive. But you know, that's why I look up references. So I go for some cool little angles. Now, I must say, my favorite part of drawing has to be perspective. It's so fun just figuring out how you're going to structure a scene, what camera angle you're taking. And yeah. Alright, now we're going to do a scene. Now, the story of this scene is I've got this character that I created in Skyrim, but I'm going to work on her a little bit so that I'd be able to make money off her and not be sued by Bethesda. So I'm going to redesign her. Redesign a whole bunch of places. It's going to be like a Conan comic. I know, we got enough barbarian comics, don't we? Except this one, I'm going to have a very different main character. The fights are going to be crazy, but they're going to be handled as differently as I could probably put it. She's going to be a magic user. And, well, it's in this very beta stages, so... Yeah. Now, of course, I put her in the Forsworn armor. I mean, you just gotta do that. You don't have to. If you don't want to be an evil person like me. I'll have to think about how to create this new outfit for her. I'll probably think of several. Well, hey, I'll show you some more drafts real fast. This is from a separate comic, which is free, completely free. Here's the craziness I usually work in. I'm gonna do the same thing for this one. I know under this terrible light, it looks like chicken scratch. Well, even in good light, it will still look like chicken scratch. Now, here's a case where I just really didn't want to draw any figures. I'm usually so intelligent that I draw when I'm falling asleep and I can't pull off any good drawings. But anyways, here we just got an arrow going up, you know. And then I show the face. I had to take little notes to like make sure I didn't forget anything. And the actual page looks pretty similar to this. But anyways. Alright. So this chick. Her name's Vixena. Gave her the full name Vixena Slickblade. And yeah, let's just say she's going out shopping. Her original jewelry broke. Like a circlet. Or it got stolen by a bandit. So we're sorry, I thought I heard something. I swear I'm not schizophrenic. Shall I say she's going to a jeweler store, buying another thing? Sorry about the birds. And yeah, we're gonna start now. So I want this page to start out very normal, then it gets crazy. If I could, I would make it 6 rows, but that'd be insane. So I'll condense it to 4. So I was reading some McFarlane Spider-Man earlier. So I'm gonna use, well, borrow one of the tropes that he uses. I have a big panel here. Put a small panel right inside. Now this will be totally straight once you get to the actual page. Sorry guys, I'm reflux capacitor, if you know what I mean. This is going to be a big marketplace. We're going to do it in some cookies perspective. Probably 2 point, most likely 2 point, because it conveys space the best. Then half the page, again, will be normal, but then it starts getting crazy. So we're gonna figure out as we go along how we're gonna set the tone up. All right. Now these panels will start changing shape once we go along because I'm kind of rushing right now. Then, okay, I will just start. Crazy stuff will come naturally, I hope. No. When I do perspective, I always make sure to do the straight line first. Don't want to pick an angle that's too odd. So I'm just going to draw the first stand really quickly. I'm not going to do some real perspective lines yet. Because this is rough again. So the sound's going to look like this. Pull one all the way in the back, like an entrance to a house. It's going to be a horizon line right here, so that one wouldn't be one wouldn't be lower than this one. Even though this one's way in the background, should be higher up. With some windows here, easy indication it's a house. All right. Some door for the seller so that he wouldn't get mugged or stabbed, because this is medieval times. What's primitive times? All right. I'm gonna put one building or one star all the way back here. Let's say they sell clothes. Who cares? We're not going to see them anyway. Let's let's be careful not to get confused this for a building or a boundary, because it ain't. So I just lightened it up really a lot. Let's put a river here. A little stream, I mean. Let me tell you, creating things on the fly, it's fun, but it's hard because you want it to look too bad. Yes, I devote a lot of time to creating the scenery. I'm gonna lap in here next time. Which is, who knows what that is. Um, Now, I don't want to put any text boxes in here. I just want the acting to be an indication. Let me think. Let's say I was thinking about putting our main character here, but it doesn't really draw your eye. Hmm. You know, a really crazy angle would be if we put the seller's face right over here, as if we're in her perspective, or like real up close. Possibly. Possibly. We might do that. So yeah, we'll treat this as a boundary now. I'll say that's the back of his stand or her. Freaking birds. Anyways, we've already wasted enough time thinking about birds. No more. So I guess we're gonna have to erase this out of here. We get a more adequate eraser. Yeah, no clothing shop, I guess. Now I do a cross on the face. I know it's usually considered guideline, but in case of drafting a page, it's for angle. Erase all this. Anything that's inside this head, so that you wouldn't confuse it for being in front of him, or at least I won't. Want to give this an emotion. Maybe it's a nonchalant emotion. Start with an eye. Maybe make him an old guy. With some crow's feet. You give him a devious look. Oh yeah. Can't forget the nose, despite what Japan tells you. Give them a devious smile, but not too devious. Oh, we gotta make sure that his eyes don't smile either. Oh yeah, this looks very cartoony, but yeah, no, that's devious. I think this comic's gonna look semi-realistic. I don't want to go too realistic. Then, well, I hate comics that looks photorealistic. They look fucking weird. Maybe no. We always give old men always have like curly hair. You know that's not even the case in real life. We'll just give him a helmet or a hat. Helmet, not hat. Make it kind of Russian. Oh yeah, that looks real Russian. Looks like those Endor helmets. Check in my phone, make sure it's all right. Now let's put this circlet right up here. So that at first our eyes looking at this circle and we're thinking, ooh, pretty, but then we see this man, like, ooh, cringe. Alright. Gotta not forget his shoulders. Alright. Maybe we'll add some perspective lines onto the circlet. Actually, I said earlier I didn't want any text boxes in this scene. Now, in a previous page, our indication that she's looking for circlets would be there. So by the time we come to this page, we'd already know. Well, she's shopping for circlets. Now we're gonna put her here. She's gonna be right dab in the middle. We want to make her face pretty big, but not too big. We don't want her to be a floating head. I'm always tempted to do that. Now, because I'm a Californian, I come across a lot of Spanish channels. Don't let anyone tell you about my true origin. I prefer to keep that private. And the camera work in those early soap operas is pretty bad. You always got a you always got a character. His head's positioned always like it's always his neck, head, and then a whole wide margin of the background right above him. It's so cringe. Now, we're gonna draw a little bit of a woman's face. Make sure to give her a little chin. I am not doing a good job of that, I guess. When I draw women, I like to give them small jaw lines. But I think one of the most important parts is the neck. It has to be slender and it has to be long. Unless you're making like, I know, there's many women that have pretty stout necks. But anyways, I came up to this German cosplay site one time, and yeah, I noticed a lot of women in Germany have like pretty similar bodies. Now we want her eyes to gleam, so we're gonna give her a bit of a smiley face because she's intrigued, alright. Alright. Now several parts of the face give off emotion. It's gonna be a front view of her nose, so that's what it'll look like. I'm just giving her a sample mouth. Trying to think of how the Disney princesses smile. Give her those necklines because I do that for some reason. Actually, a better idea would be to have her leaning forward. So you have these necklines again. That's how I indicate the neck. Push her collarbone up a little bit. Now, because of anatomy, when drawing a woman or a skeletal structure, remember don't extend her shoulders too much. I mean, maybe my shoulders aren't correct either, but I'd rather have abnormally small shoulders than abnormally large shoulders. I myself have abnormally small shoulders. I don't like it. It totally, I guess it totally applies to my profile pic, huh? I mean, it's always going to be a blonde female. Almost always. We gotta see your pupils. Again, this is going to look pretty realistic. No, we don't want any exaggerated anime features in the final product. For our ears, a little bit of our hair. I want to make it a little uneven. I always make things symmetrical, but I'm trying to break that. I said there's a lot of wind blowing, so we already angled the hair this way. So I'll draw the ponytail. The rest of her long hair, right here. Now, I haven't really designed the totality of her outfits yet, but thinking of giving her a dress with straps like the Tavern's Girl dress from Skyrim. Oh, and if you think Elder Scrolls Skyrim is the only one, Elder Scrolls 5 is the only Elder Scrolls game I played, no. I've also got Arena and Daggerfall on my computer, my old, ancient computer. I want to draw a little bit of background, because she's not really talking. Don't forget his lips too much. We don't want them to be too full because he's an old man. We want hers to be pretty full, so. Draw a little bit of a stars to indicate that she's not in Oblivion, and I don't mean the plains of Oblivion. There's a little background. Yeah. A really funny thing would be if I made this part where her circle used to be pale because the sun has tanned her face except that part because again the circlet. All right, next page or next panel. I think what I'm going to do is have him put it right on her. It's going to be like Snow White. Ew. Sorry, it's really hot in here. Um, so in this panel, it's going to be established that she starts to feel the effects. So we draw a little bit of a stressed face. I'd like to go dynamic, but it's a pretty small panel. We want to show the emotion that this circlet is actually poisoned. Now, I think I'll play on the dumb blonde trope. Of course, I don't believe in it, but, you know, it's a fantasy. Might as well make use of it, right? We kind of draw her falling back. So we angle the face that way, in that direction. And then we draw a little bit of her ear. Now, I have to admit, this is a lot more than I'm willing to put for an actual draft page, as you saw earlier. But I gotta make things look good on video. Or else no one would have a reason to listen to me. Right. No, I don't want to close her eyes. I don't want her to faint just yet. Because she still has to escape the situation. I'm not gonna have her kidnapped. That's too easy. No, I'm already thinking of the last panel, but we're gonna see how we're gonna figure that out. We draw her a little stressed, but not furrow her eyebrows too much. I accidentally drew a little pupil on her. Going up. Don't want to do that. Okay, I'll be honest. I kind of want every comic panel that she's drawn in to look potentially attractive. Oops. And there I go again. So I actually want to angle these pupils down so that she's kind of looking at him. But I want to indicate that her eyes are lowered, so we do that by drawing a line just above where the actual eye is. Now where will her neck be? Just like that. Now, even though I'm a stickler for noses, I kind of have a hard time drawing that from any other angle than straightforward. From a profile and from an angle. But I'll try. Maybe I'll use some actual reference. I should retitle this to drafting because I'd be surprised if this goes on any longer. Maybe I'll put a part one. A little brown indication on her hair through her face a little bit. Made if your hair running through your face the way it does here, you'd probably sneeze. Gotta make sure her, you know, adapts to gravity and wind. Oh yeah, I'm totally still using the same design. I'm just, oh, I forgot her war paint. Let's say she just washes it off every time she goes into a town. No, for some reason, when you draw a woman's lips and mouth angled, the very obvious bottom lip, it looks hot. Maybe that's just me. I hope that's not grounds for psychiatric ward, and it's very rough. Sorry about that. Now, I know I'm skipping ahead a bunch, but I want to do a whole dynamic panel where a bunch of bandits pop out. And we all converge on her, but the problem is that I still want to put two more rows. So what I think is I'm going to make this a big panel, then I'm going to make this a big panel. I'm going to do these really small. Panel creation or panel organization is a lot like Play-Doh. Tastes good and it smells good. So, say puts it. Oh, forgot. We can't forget. We gotta draw. Now she's got a circlet on her, so that we don't forget. Of course, the circlet's going to be much more high detail. Those dang birds. All right. And you know what? We're gonna. At first, she's all happy, surprised, but then she starts feeling something, and then, you know, I use the gravity of her hair to indicate that she's falling over. Now the question is, how do I show him putting it on her without and making it obvious? Because I don't want to do a straight-on profile shot, and I don't want to do a perspective by his arms. Hmm. You gotta think about these things. Think about dynamic camera angles. What I think I'm gonna do is, I think I'm gonna draw the circlet just about entering her head, but I'm gonna draw it with some jagged lines. Then I'm gonna draw his hands. I'm just give him his hands some jagged lines too. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So here we got the circlet. Of course, on the final project is going to be a lot more detailed. I think I already said that. That's the thing about circlets. And okay, first, I'll tell you what I was thinking about. People get tiaras and circlets confused with each other. I think a tiara is like rests on top of your head, not in the middle of your forehead. While trying to comic panel, you may think of the story some more, develop the story some more as you go along. Like maybe she found the bandit who stole it from her, but he kept it in such a place that it got ruined, that the metal got ruined. Yeah. It's already been 40 minutes. Time flies. We're not going to draw too much of her hair yet, or we're going to keep her face down here. Sometimes you have to go beyond the panel borders, get the angle right. No, yeah, this is incorrect, but just keep it like that for now. Draw a little bit more of the skull. And then going to make these jagged lines a little more obvious by darkening it. In my opinion, if an angle seems too hard, don't be afraid. Just do it anyways. Because even though it might look pretty dumb, it still look pretty cool. And you may master it. Who knows? Now, I'll draw these have to look decrepit when we do the actual drawing. To create that little hair crevice thing. Forgot what it's called. Now, this is a bit incorrect because she wouldn't wear the circlet over her hair. But that's a weird thing. How would she even put that thing on? And we're assuming that a circlet is just literally a hoop of metal. Well, anyways, this kind of reminds me of the cartoon version of the Witch King's crown. The one that sounds like Starscream. No man shall hinder me. Is that guy? Probably never saw the video. We'll give his hands a little more speed lines, because I want organic things to have speed lines. And non-organic artificial things to have jagged lines. Give a little bit of a neck here. And you know what? Maybe we can fit her whole body here. Give it a bit of a dynamic look. Give her a dynamic pose. Or a cowboy shot, even. Yeah, a cowboy shot. She looks up and admires it. Or, well, that's pretty dumb, right? Looking up at your forehead. It's impossible. Maybe we would have a text box where she says, "Do you have a mirror?" Yeah. Now, when we have text boxes, in my comic, I add text boxes digitally. I don't want to put it on the actual page because then well, I guess you don't know. It's not going to look good to me. Besides, what if someone wants the original page? We don't want all those nasty text boxes there. We want to just see the art completely. Besides, what if your family sees it and it's a really weird page? Less context is the best context. Now, we want to make sure that the reader sees her eyes. Again, make her nose. Give her a smile. Make sure the jewel of the circlet is angled correctly. Now I think we're going to draw her hair in full. She's going to be up here. So it's going to be over her braided hair on her sides. I forgot to add that actually. Yeah, I'm looking at the screen, and even in the small screen, you can kind of tell that she's smiling. Oh, do you? I'm not going to do a girl's voice. You'd have nightmares if I tried to. I'd say she repeats herself because it's weird. She says mirror over and over and over again because it's starting to alter her mind. So add a text box here. Oh no, here's the scary hard part. Now we want her chest to puff out. So gonna draw her neck, tilting this way. Maybe draw her shoulders, angling a little bit. Draw her collarbone. That's the indication for her bust. What angle her chest, bust, whatever is going to be in. And I'm using these terms medically. I'm not using them immaturely. I'm kidding. I totally am. What ponytail back here? Now, my favorite comic artist is Buscema, John Buscema. And so when I think of a dynamic pose for a woman, I go back to thinking about how he drew them. Oh, now here's the thing. I have a problem with proportioning arms. They tend to look really long. And if I pay too much attention to it or try to correct it too much, it ends up looking too small. I have this medical book. Okay, now when we get to the actual page, she'll be much larger. She'll probably be, yeah, that much larger. You know what? I think since this shoulder is angled higher, we'll have the arm extended a little more so that it'd be lower than this arm. Kind of like balance. Raise that bicep up. Raise that bicep up. I didn't pay too much attention to proportions. Only doing it for this video to look cool. Alright. Even though it's during the dress, I think I'll have it slit so that you'd be able to see your legs. Less stiffness. Now, my intention is always to make it a loincloth, but yeah. Now, whenever I draw characters or figures, I tend to draw them in swimsuits first so that I know where the body parts go. We got one leg that she's standing straight in, puff out her hips a little more. So again, small shoulders, and if they're not going to be small, make them as equal as possible to the hips or the waist. I think the dress will conform to the wind too, so let's say it's blowing. She ain't too worried about her underwear appearing out because maybe she'll think the angle is just right, but that won't happen. Just draw the big tufts in her hair that look like antennae, stretching it out a bit because they're being tied under that circlet thing. I kind of lost where the tufts of hair came from or were, but anyways. Now, we want to transition to this angle, but we want to make it fully that way. Kind of give it a middle ground. Or no, we can do something different. We can either put his reaction or his face getting more dastardly, or we can put a little more of a percussion. I think we'll do that. We'll draw his face. That's angled downward. Now, now, down angled faces are much harder to draw for me, at least. We want this one to be a little crooked. Maybe make his eyes seem like he expected this. Does he looks up at her? Got his nose going over his mouth a little bit. Hat at this angle or a problem. No, he's not standing at an angle. I want it to be a full frontal view. Now that we've done this, our eye is going to have to be going left from here, and then be like Pac-Man. So yeah, he looks on. She's falling this way. Then I guess instinctively we can go this way. And then our lie is going to lead over here. And then, yeah. Now, for other pages, I'm not even going to be like... Most of my pages, maybe, won't be through these simple triangles. Wait, triangles? Rectangles. Because I go through, like, some crazy shapes. Like, I mean, look at this page. Okay, that's not a very good idea. Let me see. Forget it, whatever. Just take my word for it. Now, I think we're gonna have... At first, I was thinking of having her down here. As they all converge. A bunch of, like, ninja bandit whatevers. But now, I'm thinking that we can have them appearing. We can have the guy, the store seller, whatever. He appears. Or no, he pulls out a dagger. We'll indicate that by speed lines. He throws it. And she dodges just in time. Hmm. Now what I'm thinking, which I do rarely, is how do I put him in and put all these other people popping up without him taking too much of the screen. What I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to angle that line. Now I could go for an extremely complicated angle so that I can fit a lot of his body here. There's so much other people popping out. Now I must warn you when drawing a comic page, or drafting one, you may find a lot of time being spent on even like formatting it. Actually, what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm still going to put her in here, but she's going to be a really small figure. Like down here. She's like collapsing on the ground. And then, yeah, holding her head. Good draw. I am going out of angle constantly. Alright. I said head is in her hand. Maybe draw a kneecap there. She's on the ground, so that would give him a reason to throw it onto the ground. Which I'm going to have her dodge by just picking up her foot. We got to make sure it still looks like it would have hit her body. Actually, not move. So yeah, we're going to probably go through a really Well, everybody might be off screen. It's getting really hot in here. Jeez. I should not have been spending so much time falling asleep. Maybe it's another perspective shot of his... Or no, we could add another panel here. We go for something a little weird. Like he throws it here. Then all we see is the thingy going. Make sure we got this kind of a little more obvious so that we don't confuse it. And then this is a complicated panel, geez. All right, easy stuff first. Throw the weapon. Draw the weapon, I mean. And some speed lines to the air. And yeah. I want the weapon to be a little bit like an arrow. So we go right here. Hello? Test 228. Sorry I missed you. That's odd. Viewer still shows as 1. I mean, no, 0. But okay. So as I was going... It's gonna look like a kunai for now. I won't be so unoriginal when we get to the actual page. Um... Hmm. Maybe we can show him Metro. It wouldn't really look like he's throwing it, but just an indication. Hope you don't hear my breathing. I hope my breathing's not being picked up by the microphone. Hello? Test 28. I'll keep you up to make sure that I know you're there. Draw her eyes. Or his eyes, I mean. Alright. A little bit of a smile right there. Jeez, I wish I could stop keeping these out of focus or out of view. The problem is if I put him in view, then I can't really see the screen or the paper. Draw his arm here. Give him a really weird looking pose. Draw some speed lines. In case it wasn't obvious enough that he's throwing this. So I just add a little more hair to that. And now you can barely see her, but whatever. Maybe we can improve on that on the final product. You know, that belt's a little low. It should be up here. We'll figure it out later. Alright. Just checking things, and, we can add a little more of an indication. Maybe he's a little too confident. He's already removing he's already taking out the knife. Show that by, him parting his clothes a little bit. Might be a 3-point perspective of this shop stand. Okay. Horizon line will be way up here. We'd have some, like, let's say, plant pots or other little props in the background that these things pop out from. Yeah, here's a person. Because it's our little secret, we already know that it's his friends popping out. Maybe a little corridor. We draw another one. And these will all be one color. These people. So that we'd instantly know that they're connected. And here we may draw him pulling out that knife a little more. We draw a little indication that something's going wrong here. She's under a lot of stress. I can do it like that. And we want to draw this knife sticking there. I think I want to draw it bouncing off too, but looks like the point got shattered. So we draw a bunch of debris. We draft a bunch of debris. Again, we're making a kunai for now, but in the final prize is going to be a more of a little dagger. And let me see. Okay, because it want this kunai, this knife, to actually look like it was aiming at her body and not at the ground. Maybe through her leg. I mean, there would have been a lot of noise had it actually stuck, and would have kind of been weirdly cruel and sadistic, but eh. Well, actually, in movies, people yell when they're in pain, but I don't think it's the most realistic thing at all. I find that when you're in pain, you fall silent, really. And foreshortening a body, nightmare. And maybe we can draw our other boot, and she's angling her foot a little bit away from the pavement or the ground because it would have gotten her there too. Make it a little more dangerous. A little bit of her boot there. All right. It looks really wonky here, but you know, well, you don't, I guess. I have music on in my earbuds. I hope there's no weird sounds going on outside, other than what I've already identified. So again, our boot is angled this a little more. So we indicate that by drawing the pads of our boot. It's going to look like that, even though it was really thrown like this. But again, we won't have those speed lines. Oh, it leaves right here. And then, we can draw a 3-point perspective of a building back here, or even a city wall or gate. Gee whiz. Sorry about that. I accidentally hit the home button. Alright. I really wish StreamYard like could turn on your flashlight. Now, what indication do we get that this is her? Well, I'd say drawing the dress. So, draw a little bit of cloth flowing in the wind. It's going to go over the knife a little bit, only to make it a little easier for us to tell. Of course, when we get to the actual page, it's going to be behind the handle. And, yeah. Let's darken that knife a little bit. And then she gets a fire spell ready. But she's still delirious, so we just want to show one eye almost falling unconscious. It's going to look a little lazy, but a little worried, a little angry because she's under stress, but right. Let's before we move on to the head, let's bring her arm. It's gonna cover her face a little bit. Now, actually, a better idea would have been to maybe flip her over so that our eye would be drawn to here. But I just want to keep consistency because she's faced this way both times. Again, her hair is gonna be covering because under wind. That's how we can cheat. All right. Darken this arm out. That's why I never understand when people only want to keep their drawing as pencils. I mean, the pencils fade away so easily. Speaking of which, if I could, with the same results, I totally have all my inked artwork colored as well. I like color a lot more than black and white, to tell you the truth. Even gray, even grayscale. Anyways, you want a cool design. But first, we want to make sure this fire spell draws our eyes. Draw our hand a little bit and a little bit of a fist. We're not going to see her hand here because the light is going to bleach everything out. Our collarbone to make sure we got our torso correctly. Draw her bust. Make sure we know where we're putting things. And again, medical terms. Don't be immature. Again, out of proportion, her is pretty big, but you know, drafting. Now, tends to make this a fireball, but it's just going to be a big stream of fire because she wants to get out of there. But I think she's going to leave it behind as she makes it get away. So I think we're going to do by putting her all the way in the foreground. We want to exaggerate so that we know what we mean right here. I know the. Oh wait. Jeez, out of focus again, out of sight again. Sorry, I'm just thinking about ways I could position this camera so I could even see a single thing I'm doing and let you see at the same time. Put our other arm out here because that's how humans run. One arm on the opposite side of the leg is running. Do our head a little bit more. Alright. Little speed lines. And we want this fire stream to be to kind of lead you. Oh yeah, it's like a path. Let's draw the body of the fire. So that we know what to overlap and what not to overlap. All the Yeah, we've kind of confused ourselves, but we'll figure it out when we get to the final page. As a popular saying goes, she will gotta find the origin. As a popular saying goes, we'll fix it in post. So it goes here, and then well, we'll figure out this fire later. Like when we get to the final thing, we'll actually draw the path first. Show the stand. And over right here. No, I want to draw destroyed yet. We'll draw him that he got away, so I'll just back and his leg all the way up here. His other foot back here. Now, what I think I want to do, put the horizon line way up there to draw more people appearing. And we'll draw her, make sure gravity and wind. Alright. Hot darn in a hat. There we go. Well, here's the story. A seller or vendor presents his jewelry. And then the main character, Vixena, looks at it, happy, amused. He puts it right on her. She keeps saying, "Meh." I think I'm going to have each of these characters talk in specific fonts. So that, because, I don't like pigtails on text bubbles. She repeats herself. Gosh dang it, camera. Starts falling over. And, right here. She's fallen to the ground. See a bunch of other people appearing all of a sudden. He throws it with a dastardly face, a knife. And then it sticks to the ground. She manages to dodge it. Just barely. She gets a fire spell ready while still struggling, falling unconscious. And then, big stream. I think it'll grow thicker once it's at the end. He escapes. She runs. She tears ass out of there. And yeah. Now, because of perspectives like that, I think I'm gonna have her conform to this perspective a little more. Perhaps it'd be just her chest and an arm and her head. Alright. I am might come back, charge this phone, get a better setup. I can figure it out. Alright.